fun begins.
How's it going?
Hello.
Well,
Greetings, young Jedi.
hello there.
Hey everyone, Hybrid Toy Reviews here, and today we're taking a look at the Star Wars The Black Series, Barriss Offee, as she appears in Star Wars Attack of the Clones. Now, Barriss was a background Jedi in Attack of the Clones. She appears in a little bit of the Chancellor's office in the beginning of the movie, and then the Battle of Geonosis, and then she completely disappears for Revenge of the Sith, minus a deleted scene, which are kinda like canon until something contradicts it, you know? And, as we know, Clone Wars contradicted that in a big way. So, we will, of course, be making references to the story this character goes on throughout the review, but I gotta say, I really love that Hasbro has been giving some love lately to the prequel Jedi, not just Anakin, Obi-Wan, Mace Windu, Yoda. They have really started to pick on some of these council members, some of our background Jedi. This is stuff that I've been asking for a long time. There's two things I love in Star Wars, and that is my clones and my Jedi. So getting another Jedi for the shelf has me incredibly excited. I'm very amped to open her up and see what we're getting. But first, let's take a more in-depth look at this figure in the packaging. And here's Barriss Offee in the packaging. But before we talk about Barriss, let's talk about this 501st Clone Trooper. So this 501st Clone Trooper, or Tactical Ops Trooper, is in their 20th anniversary Revenge of the Sith packaging. It is a Walmart exclusive, and I am giving it away when the YouTube channel hits 2,500 subscribers. We're about 140 away. I'm really excited to do it. So if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe now. Tell a friend if you haven't told a friend yet. Let's up those numbers, and I will give this away. When I hit 2,500 subscribers, I will put up a video saying, hey, comment on this, and then I will pick a random comment at that point. So, very excited to put this in someone else's hands. Now, let's talk about the less exciting, but very standard packaging that Barriss Offee comes in. This is your standard Galaxy packaging with the flat side now, your new boxes. Your Black Series logo. Above a big window showing her and her lightsaber accessory off very nicely. A little bit of a red Geonosis Arena backdrop in there. Number 9 in the Attack of the Clones line, Barriss Offee. Attack of the Clones in red. Warning 4+ Hasbro. This side of the box features some really cool artwork of her in the arena and her name below that. This side features your wraparound window, wraparound stripe, and your Black Series logo. Around back, you get your Black Series logo. Once more, a bio about her in 5 different languages. Pause and read whichever best applies to you. A zoom into that side art. Number 9, Attack of the Clones. A bunch of legal hoopity-doopity. And then some Disney and Hasbro logos, barcode, and more legal shinga-dinga-ding-dong. And then a hanger tab up top. Nothing remotely noteworthy because it's just a standard Black Series box, but it is a very classy design and something that I do like a lot. So without further ado, let's get into this review. So here we have the Black Series Barriss Offee out of the packaging. Let's start by taking a look at her one and only accessory, her blue-bladed lightsaber. This blade has a very nice blue color to it. It's very strong, but it's not very thick. It's a very opaque shade. You see a lot of light catching in it. They have a really nice shade they use for the greens now, where there's a fluorescent and it kind of really catches the light. I don't think you can really do that with blue, but this is one of the nicer looking blue blades of the line. So I do really like that. For her hilt, it is one of the, I'm totally blanking on the name, but basically there was like 4 hilts they made for prequel background Jedi. So it's one of the 4, and they've given them all to the General Grievous figure. So we've seen this hilt before. This has the peg on it, so it's the version that they made for Aayla Secura, who has the same hilt. And the blade is removable, but it is in there. Okay, it snaps out, pegs back in, of course, very, very secure. But on Barriss here, get in there. On Barriss, nowhere on her belt is a place to actually peg this into, which is a little bit unfortunate, because that belt is a new sculpt, so they basically chose not to include it while making it, which is very unfortunate. Setting the saber off to the side and taking a look at Barriss, she looks excellent. I mean, everything that I'm picturing about the character in my mind is here. I mean, they have done some amazing work here. Now, from the waist down, we're going to go ahead and just upskirt her now. These are those like Aura Singh, Aayla Secura, General Holdo legs. However, the boots feature a heel on the bottom, and I don't know where that's from, if that's from anything, or if maybe the feet portion are different, but definitely the boot and the legs are old. They are that double pinned, system, which definitely isn't the best looking when you can see it, but given that she has a soft goods skirt hiding it all, I mean, who cares? For all I care, she doesn't even need to have legs under there at that point. So, yeah, that's okay, in my opinion. I think we're all right. Taking a look at the just general likeness here, what a good likeness. I couldn't tell you the actress's name, any of the prequel Jedis, outside of course, everyone knows Sam Jackson, and then us Star Wars fans know Owen and Hayden and all that. But outside of like a primary actual character Jedi, I don't think anyone really knows the names, of the actors so much. So I couldn't tell you Barriss's actress. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm a fake fan. Call me out. But, I'm just picturing the character as I remember from the last time I saw Attack of the Clones. And I'm like, yep, this is Barriss. I think it's a solid enough likeness. She has that very nice kind of like pistachio green Miralyn skin, very similar to her master Luminara Unduli, who we've just recently gotten in the line. She has the nice diamond patterned tattoos across her nose. The eyes look very nice. The eyebrows, the black lipstick just look oh so good. Underneath the rubber hood, it's basically like she's wearing, like a ski cap kind of thing, where there's no hair sculpted or anything. It's not something that you can take off to make a quick and dirty Clone Wars Barriss or anything, but that's all right. The rubber hood does a nice job of laying how you would want it to lay, because, of course, it's sculpted to lay that way. There's some very nice patterning on it, and then the patterning actually does make its way down her cape, which is accurate, and it's done very, very nice here. It is just flat fabric that has been printed on, and I think it looks very, very good. Of course, some of the shades are like a little bit different between the plastic and the fabric, because just how could you make them the same? Different materials will, you have to just dye them as close as you can to each other. And then from the waist up, she's got to be new, because she has a unique, upper torso. She has like the kind of like ribbed sleeves and, like upper shirt. And, it's just something that like really only her character has. She has that iconic heart, belt buckle going on. I like how, like, even though we don't have the peg for a saber, like, they included the belt loop for the tail of the belt to tuck into off to the side, and it's like a lot of effort got put into that belt. And I just wish we got that saber peg. Of course, I can always take a teeny tiny drill bit and just do it myself, but still, just not what you want. Back of her hands feature, the 4 diamonds making a bigger kind of diamond shape, and that's, that is accurate. Her costume isn't like the most exciting thing in universe, so it's like, how exciting an action figure can she possibly make? But I am very excited just to have Barriss in the Black Series. We have definitely gotten some less deserving characters over the years before her, and I'm just glad that we didn't get Luminara earlier this year and then had to like wait years. Luminara hit, and we all just kind of knew, hey, they're on that prequel Jedi kick. She's coming, and here she is, and I am happy with her. So let's go ahead and run through some articulation really quick. Of course, from the waist up is all that's going to be too exciting and new. There is a double ball neck system, and while the head generally has a lot of posability, it's even in that hood, you just got to reach in there and move it. Of course, the hood hinders things a little bit, or frustrates things at the very least, but the hood is ringed around her neck, so you can always, turn the hood, on the neck. There is the hinge and 360 swivel at the shoulder with a nice deep butterfly joint in there. Love to see it. Single jointed elbows can go a little past 90 and then swivel, which is nice. 360 at the wrist with both of them hinging up and down for lightsaber pointing action. I love to see that. There's a waist ball joint, which allows her to crunch a little bit forward, a little bit back, nothing insane. Got some swivel and some pivot in there. It's enough, for what that needs to be. The legs under the skirt, she can kick, very stretchy skirt material. She can kick basically straight forward. Not much back. There's a thigh swivel, so you guys that think that all figures need to have it or else they're bad, there you go. There's the double jointed knees, of course, so this figure can kick her own backside. There is, as I mentioned, the boot. There's a top of the boot swivel, and then the feet can point pretty far down, especially considering the heel. and then pretty far forward, and there's a forward-facing pin for rocker, but of course that's forward-facing on a heel, so the foot's kind of like at a weird angle to begin with, so you can get her in some fun stances with both feet flat on the ground, but you just got to work with what the figure's willing to do, and I think there's enough articulation that you can get some really fun posing out of Barriss here. So here's Barriss with a variety of characters. The Jedi Temple Guard, also from this mini-wave, who most certainly has never had to tell her to cease her hostilities. Anakin Skywalker, who's never checked her. Her best friend, Ahsoka Tano. You know friends don't betray each other, right? Barriss in the middle. Her Master Luminara, who she's certainly never disappointed. Shakti, who's honestly just a recent release girl Jedi, so whatever. And then a 501st Clone Trooper representing your average 6-inch height figure, just to show that she scales nicely, a little taller than some of these ladies, not taller than any of the men. I think that it works out pretty well. Of course, we've got some jokes going on here at Barriss' expense, but she did it to herself. So at the end of the day, what do I think of the new Black Series Barriss Offee? I mean, come on. If you've been collecting any of these prequel Jedi, this has definitely been a hole on the shelf for a little bit for you. And I am just so happy to finally add her to the shelf. I gotta be honest, I've been asking for prequel Jedi for a while. I'm starting to run out of requests. Hasbro's really upped the bar here lately. Really been giving us a lot of really cool Jedi characters. And, there's always, another one that could be given. But really starting to fill that shelf up. I think, I honestly think that Saesee Tiin and Agent Kolar are probably my next biggest asks. And from there, I think you start to get a little bit obscure. Not that I'm mad about that. So, great work, Hasbro. Don't get me wrong, there's some reuse going on with these legs. Don't care. Not even in the slightest. I think this figure's beautifully done. And I can't say anything negative. I love this one. A 10 out of 10. Smart reuse, great new pieces, great adaptation of a character. Just amazing, amazing work. Keep it up, Hasbro. So that's all for now. Thanks so much for watching. It means a lot you did. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. All that in the video stuff. You know the drill. I've said it all a million times before. Subscribe. 2,500 subs. We give away the 501st clone. Tell a friend. Let's up those numbers. I will see you all later. May the Force be with each and every one of you. And goodbye.